The Women's Champions League semifinals are underway, and with no surprise, Barcelona had absolutely no problem getting past Wolfsburg 5-1. Also, Lyon against PSG with that 3-2. And some goalie errors that we are going to go over. Cristina and Katia Castorena to talk a little bit about what is coming underway now, especially for this Barcelona team that is just absolutely impressive with that 5-1 result against Wolfsburg. As mentioned, Wolfsburg, which is one of the most experienced teams as well in this Women's Champions League, so it's definitely a little bit of a shock to them. Before we get into it, let's listen to Patricia Guijarro from Barcelona.
Bueno, yo creo que es evidente que estamos muy felices, muy contentas, no solo por el resultado, sino por la forma que lo hemos hecho. Y bueno, sobre todo por el ambiente, los culés que han venido hoy a apoyarnos, ha sido espectacular, nuevo récord. Para mí no hay palabras y bueno, lo que decía un poco John, al final queda otro partido en su casa, va a ser duro, va a ser difícil, pero bueno, sí que es verdad que muy contentas por el resultado y sobre todo por cómo lo hemos hecho, que yo creo que somos conscientes que estamos en un buen momento y hay que seguir en esta línea. Creo que ha sido un muy buen partido hoy para demostrar lo ambiciosas que somos, cómo estamos, cómo venimos y sobre todo pues que el deporte se ha sido bonito, el fútbol se ha sido bonito y que hace 2 años nos fuimos para casa en unas semifinales contra ellas y hoy pues nosotras pues jugamos de esta manera, lo pagamos de esta manera, aún queda otro partido, pero vamos a salir igual que hoy o más.
Barcelona's manager simply put that this was the best 45 minutes that he has witnessed as a coach. And that's no surprise because Barcelona 10 minutes in was already winning at 2-0. Katia, what makes this Barcelona team so unstoppable?
This Barcelona team is dominant and unstoppable for sure. We're talking about the reigning Champions League champions and a Barcelona that has won 45 competitive games in a row, and it's nearing 200 goals, 40 of those games being this season. Talk about a winning streak that this Barcelona team is on. Unbelievable. Having the support from their fans, once again establishing an attendance record at Camp Nou with 91,648 fans, the official attendance record this time. They had a record against Real Madrid in the previous stage, now once again during the semifinals. And this Saturday, we're going to have this double header in the second leg of the semifinals, an exciting one. And Wolfsburg is a team that has tradition, that before this had won 5 semifinals out of the 7 they had played in the last 10 years. So we're talking about a team that has tradition, that has experience. But when we see what this Barcelona is doing, is unbelievable. Even the players were saying, this team, the same team, Wolfsburg, had beat them 2 years ago and knocked them out of the Champions League. And talk about a transformation and a growth that Barcelona has had. Now not just as champions, but being absolutely dominant against every single opponent.
Fear the Blaugrana team because these statistics are so impressive with those 37 goals. I mean, first and practically when we talk about all the rankings, except for balls recovered and clean sheets, but with total attempts, with the passing accuracy, which is almost at that 90% mark, and the possession is also, it's insane because we're talking about, this is what they've been averaging, 66.9%, and it's amazing. And it's something that also Tommy Stroot of the Wolfsburg side, the manager, was just saying that Barcelona should already plan their plane tickets for this final of the Champions League. I mean, they were down 4-0 at the half against this powerful team that is Barcelona, with Giraldes as well, who was just so satisfied with what his players have put forth in this effort. And more than anything, you talk about, and you just mentioned, the work that has been put into this project to get it to where it is today. And it's just so worth it. And this team is so impressive that I really do believe that we're going to talk about this women's Barcelona team like we still talk about to the day of what Pep Guardiola did in his time as a Barcelona manager. So why not think that this Barca team can still make just so much history ahead of them because of the impressive players that they also have now in this team. So from here on out, Srut also talking about that factor that is the fans. the 91,648 that made their presence known and made in the Camp Nou the other day. And that's something of experience, says Struck, because not all players are used to playing in front of this massive crowd that we saw again in the Barcelona home. So the question is, now what are they going to do with maybe without that much pressure when it comes to not that many fans thinking, of course, and assuming that it's not going to be the same in this next match, Katia?
They're going to be in their home turf. They're expecting to have the support of the fans in Germany, but it's only been done 4 times in the history of UEFA club competition where a team has overturned a 4-goal deficit into a second leg. So there's hope there for Wolfsburg. And we were talking, it's a team that it's no stranger to winning, to being in an important stage. But this Barcelona has been absolutely dominant. Every single line that you analyze of what they're doing on the field, it's been just unbelievable, the ambition that they're showing. And when we talk about Wolfsburg, I know that records are there and are meant to be broken, but they had a perfect record against Spanish teams, and Barcelona said, no more. We're going to take that. We're going to claim it. And they definitely got an important win in that first leg. We're going to see what happens in the second leg, where they're going to be in Germany. But just as the coach was saying, we are all expecting Barcelona to just punch that ticket to the final, trying to defend their title.
Yeah, punching that ticket as well with another double from Alexia Putellas. And we know what kind of player she has been, not only for the Barcelona side, but also for the Spanish national team. So really, the sky is the limit. Now let's go on to the other semifinal, a little bit closer than what we were talking about with Barcelona and Wolfsburg, because Lyon beat 3-2 against PSG. That had a really tough time when we focus on their goalkeeping. And unfortunately for them, that was really kind of the highlight of those 90 minutes. 3 terrible errors from Botikova. So the question is, how is PSG going to turn this around to really beat Lyon? Because when we talk about experience in this Women's Champions League, of course, Wolfsburg, as we already mentioned, Katia, but also this Olympique Lyon side.
Yes, Chris, and this is a game that it's going to be definitely exciting, not just because it's a French rivalry, 2 teams that know each other, but when we look at Lyon, as you mentioned, the team that has won the most in the UEFA Champions League with 7 titles, PSG has been a runner-up 2 times, but has never been able to win the title. Just as the men's have been struggling in this competition, the women's too. So it's something that the organization, of course, wants. They're gonna hold the second leg at Parc des Princes there in Paris with an opportunity now that the away goals rule has been it's not being used anymore for the competition. It's definitely very open for both teams. And in this case, PSG has a shot at, why not, making it to the final one more time. If we think about Barcelona making it, then we'll analyze what that final would look like. But here with the French rivalry, I think it's going to be a great game and fans will be excited. And I know the attendance record has been a little bit like eclipsed by what Barcelona is doing in Camp Nou, but we have to give credit to the French fans as well, establishing their own record, being there in the French capital, supporting their women's team as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's a great experience, learning experience as well for these just such amazing players that PSG and that Lyon have as well, with that double. Speaking of the double from Putellas, now we saw a double from Macario. Of course, as many U.S. women's national team fans are probably very excited about this player also appearing in such important moments in this amazing tournament that is the Women's Champions League. So next we have to focus on also the final stages, not only of the Women's Champions League, but also for the Women's Liga MX, because we are nearing the final week of this season. And of course, we're not surprised to see those first 4 in those positions with Monterrey, with Guadalajara, Tigres, Club America, and of course, Pachuca, Atlas, Toluca, and Pumas. Those are the ones that if it had ended this weekend, we would already be talking about the matchups for the quarterfinals. However, There is still one more match to play for each of these teams this coming weekend, and it's definitely going to be a very exciting week of the Women's Liga MX because it is so close. I mean, there are so many teams with 18 points and trying to get to that 8th place. Atlético de San Luis, you never know, has to depend, of course, on different results to really just, and of course, beating Querétaro, which only a point separates them. So it's so exciting, Katia. And I'm not saying we had a magic 8 ball, but it was something that we really just predicted and we kept talking about. And apparently our dreams came true.
We knew it was going to come down to the wire for a few of these teams. Should we call it decision day like they do in MLS?
Oh, I love
the final regular
Yes.
season, the final regular game of the regular season. And it's, like I said, it's going to be close for a few of these teams. We see the contrast of the teams on top of that table that have secured their spot and they've known they're going to be in the playoffs long ago. But then we see these other teams that are still fighting and it's going to be exciting. I guess there's one spot up for grabs, maybe 2, depending on what Toluca does, because a tie can secure that spot for Toluca. But when we see that Toluca and Pumas, the clubs that are right now sitting on that 7th and 8th spot of the table, are going to face each other during that final game, that final decision day game, they're going to take points away from each other. And that's when other teams like Xolos can say, hey, if I win my game against Juárez, I have a shot. Cruz Azul as well, why not? They're facing Puebla. Atlético de San Luis, as you mentioned, might be a long shot, but they're facing Querétaro, another direct rival when it comes to those teams fighting for the final 2 spots. So anything can happen and it's going to be exciting for sure.
And I'm sure a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, this is how they planned it. No, it's impossible to plan. That's why it's so exciting just coming into this weekend. And we will be right here to react to that decision day, as we will now call it in the Women's Liga MX. And of course, more to come with that Women's Champions League. Till next time.